Okay, so this question talks about calculating the area of a triangle. Now, we've got two formulas for the area of a triangle in GCSE exams. We've got the standard half base times height formula, or we've got the formula that's at the front of the exam paper for any triangle. And this is what I'd call any triangle. It's not got a right angle in it. It's not an isosceles triangle. So it's just what we call any old ordinary triangle. And therefore it's going to be the formula, a half AB sine of C, and they give you a picture at the front of the exam paper that defines that you've got a triangle ABC and the opposite lengths are little letters, so little b for that length and little a for this length, and the angle that they're working with is there, and it's called a side angle side triangle because we're using the values of A and B and we're using the angle at C that's tracked between those two lengths. So basically that's the formula we can use for any triangle, and we've got to basically look at the information we're given and see whether it'll actually be just a case of taking numbers off here and putting it straight into the formula. Well, we can see straight away we don't have a side angle side triangle, so that gives us a clue straight away. Also, the question is worth 5 marks, so that gives us a clue that it's probably not going to be just as easy as putting numbers into a formula and pressing a button on a calculator. So we're going to need to find another length because I need a side angle side triangle. So can I get the information? Well, if I look carefully, I do have a triangle with 2 angles given, so automatically I can calculate that angle there by doing the classic angles in a triangle add up to 180. So 180, take away the 47, take away the 58 degrees, so 180 take away 47 take away 58 is 75 degrees. So we know this is 75 degrees. Therefore we've got a side and an opposite angle, and I need another side, and we also know its opposite angle. Now when we've got a side and an opposite angle and we know an angle to work out an opposite side, then it's shouting out use the sine rule. So opposite lengths and angles, sine rule. So again, we look at the front of the exam paper and we can see that the sine rule says that when we want to work out a length, then this is the length of little b because it's opposite that angle. This is the length of little a because it's opposite the angle of capital A. Therefore, the sine rule parts that I'm going to need are little a over the sine of big A is equal to little b over the sine of big B. I don't need the C part because I've got enough information to find one missing thing, knowing 3 of the other things. So from this picture then we can see that the value of A is 220, the value of big A was 75, and that's equal to the length that we want, B, divide by the angle 47, the sine of it of course, so it's about the sine rule. And we can see from this then that we rearrange to get B on its own. So B, this says divide by the sine of 47, so it comes across as multiply. So we're going to do 220 times the sine of 47 degrees all over the sine of 75 degrees. So we put that in our calculator, making sure the calculator's got degrees on the symbol or D to make sure we're working in the right mode. So we've got 220 times the sine of 47 degrees equals, and then divide that by the sine of 75 degrees equals. Now this isn't the final answer, so recommendation is that you always go to 3 or 4 places more than the accuracy they want. At the moment they want a final answer to 3 snippet figures, so I've got 3 snippet figures there, but I'm going to go a little bit further just to make sure that when I round my final answer I'm not going to lose the accuracy mark. So 5736747. So I'm just going to go a little bit further on. So that's the length of B. I've now got the situation where I've got a side, angle, side. So I can now use this formula. So if I look at the information I've got that's 220. I've got that's 166.5736 and so forth. And I've got the angle between them is 58 degrees. So from the formula then, that's going to be my angle C, that's going to be my length of B, that's going to be my length of A. So the area is, so that's the information we've got from the picture, and therefore my area is going to be a half times the length of A 220 times the length of B, 166.1. So actually 166. So 166.57 and so forth times the sine of 58 degrees. So we left that number in our calculator because we knew we was going to use it, and we're going to times that by the 220. We're then going to times that by the half, and then we're going to times that by the sine of 58 degrees. So the final answer on the calculator is 15538.87365. Always write down the full answers and then round if you need to. Well, the question said do 3 significant figures, so we're going to finish off with 1, 2, 3 digits, starting with the first one 0 digit, so 1, 2, 3, so 1, 5. The fourth digit doesn't change, that one, so it stays as that, but we do need those to be zeros because this was in the 10,000s column, so the answer has to have 10,000. So this was about meters, it's about area as a final answer. So again, we recognise that on the exam answer line, no units given, so you must make sure you give the units. Really important, we don't lose an easy mark. Units for every answer that involves them. So this question came down to recognising that you had a triangle that wasn't a right-angled one or anything, so we had to use the standard formula for any triangle. But this only works if we have a side-angle-side triangle. And when we looked at the information initially, we had angles but no sides, angle side. So we had to work out a new side length using the sine rule. And then once we got that length, we could then put that information into the formula and round appropriately.